know if most people think about if children can be self-sufficient when they're very young. I think most people who are responsible for children are thinking about what they're supposed to be doing to keep children safe, more than thinking about what the child is capable of doing for themselves, because I think that's our cultural expression of love.
So let me tell you what Henry did. Henry is about 17 months old at this time, and he is super curious, super observant. One day I'm working in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I hear our coffee maker on, like it's making coffee. And I turned around, and there Henry is up on a step stool at the Keurig and making coffee. And sure enough, there's a mug underneath, and there's actual coffee coming out. So he knew to pull the drawer open to get the mug out, to put it underneath the little spout, to get the Keurig cup, put it inside, to push the lever, turn on the setting, and to push it on at 17 months old. And I just stood there in shock. And then I took pictures because I was like, wow, look what he can do. Look how he is being self-sufficient. And he's seen mom do this so many times, and he's like, I can do this. And that's what he did. He did do it. I think that most people are fearful that children are going to hurt themselves. And so I don't necessarily know if they even think about, can a child do this or can't do this? I think they think is child going to get hurt by doing this? And so then they are nervous about giving them real tools. I was just in a toddler classroom yesterday, and the teacher was willing to give the child that was close to 3 years old scissors to work with, because she's like, yeah, they need that scissor practice. But she wouldn't have that workout for a younger child because she was nervous that child was going to get hurt with it. What happened was that work got left out, and that younger child went to the work and started cutting it. And her first instinct was to, oh no, he's going to get hurt, and take it away from him. But the other teacher stopped her and said, hold on, he's doing this. And so made her step back, and she watched, and she was like, whoa, he is doing it. He also is capable of doing the scissor work, just like the older toddler in this classroom is. One of the educational principles that we look at is learning is its own reward. That learning is so exciting, and you feel so good when you do it on your own that you don't need anything else. You don't need stickers. You don't need rewards, because what happens is that you just feel ecstatic that you was able to solve this problem.
My teacher knows that it's more important for me to learn than to get something done fast. I wish more adults would step back and let me do things by myself.
This provocation represents a lot about self-sufficiency, and it's a great provocation for an adult or a child to think about self-sufficiency. Studies show that the more disconnected we are from the things that we use, the less happy we are. So when we're thinking about making orange juice and that it just comes in a container rather than I get to squeeze it and push it on a juicer, we lose the joy of making that thing ourselves and understanding how we went from not having orange juice to having orange juice. So having something like this in a classroom and adding nuts to it so that a child can see how we maybe create peanut butter is such a joyful experience for them, because they've learned how something comes to be. And that's their big question. Learning feels so good. It is the reward for our efforts, for our struggle. And one of the things we know about that principle is that when children are working, they want to be seen. What they really want is for the adult to see them in the struggle of overcoming something, solving a problem, meeting a challenge. The adult, when they're thinking about that principle, then is able to focus on what the child's thinking about and what they're accomplishing rather than on the end product. So that we have it mixed up in our minds that the reward comes because I got the right answer, but the reward actually comes because I did the work to solve the problem. And it's right there that the child wants the teacher to see them and comment and be with them, not at the end saying, "Good job and here's your A." One of the things that motivates adults to step in too soon with children is that they want to save them from the frustration of getting something wrong. But what they're actually doing is stealing joy from children, because our joy comes from our learning. And none of us would intentionally say, "Hey, today I'm going to go to school and I'm going to steal all the children's joy." But we do that sometimes because, again, going back to our cultural expression of love, let me take care of this for you so that you can feel good. When we understand that principle, that the good comes from the struggle and the win, we don't step in. Teacher as facilitator means that I'm facilitating your endeavor, your innate desire to understand what's going on and use the tools that you have to come up with solutions to that question, versus I'm going to tell you what you need to know and how you need to use what I'm telling you what you need to know. A facilitator isn't thinking about themselves as being responsible for the child's learning and success. A facilitator is thinking about what does the child need so they can take responsibility for their learning and success. And so a good example of that is, what size cup does this child need so they can successfully drink independently, versus let me give you a sippy cup so you don't spill anything. Well, the benefit for a child of having a teacher who's thinking about themselves as a facilitator and thinking about themselves not as the center of the classroom, but as a member in the classroom, is that it gives the teacher freedom to step back and really consider what is the child doing and what is the child thinking about. It gives the teacher permission to be a thinker rather than a doer, because if the child's responsible for their learning because they're capable and independent and self-sufficient, then the teacher can allow that work to be done by the child while thinking about what's next. What's the next greatest thing this child can accomplish with the skills that they're investigating and working toward? One of the best benefits for teachers when they start thinking about themselves not as the center of the classroom is that they can begin to see themselves as learners. And then we have a community of learners. And in a community of learners, we all become thinkers. And in a community of thinkers, we discover amazing things about the world around us, about each other, about possibility. It creates freedom. Oh, the power of thinking.